focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
What mic you using? What mic you using?
I didn't hear you.
What mic you using?
5.
Our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines up at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
Is my mic on? Yo, what's happening? What's happening? It's Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. Also, you can hit me up on Facebook. I don't say enough, but you can also hit me up on the Twitter. So, in fact, hey man, take it easy. And matter of fact, I might stream a little bit of the show on Twitter. I do have my tablet with me today, so I might stream a little bit of the show on Twitter today. I'll get that set up. I tell you what, hand me that bag right there, Miss Ivy. Shout out to Clayton Williams, who is producing the show today. Doing a good job. They got a lot of likes yesterday from. Even the mayor gave them a like, and a lot of people, I asked them, did y'all see y'all picture and all the likes on Facebook? We don't do Facebook. And they kind of looked at me like I was kind of dirty or something. We don't do Facebook. Who are you? You old fool. So I'm gonna have to get help. I actually have an Instagram account. It's just so many. You know what? You know what someone needs to do? You need to create an app that allows you to stream on all of the mediums. Okay? So you log into one app, and it's real simple here. I guess if it was that simple, I would make one. But here's what you do. You create the app, and inside the app, you have an option for all of the media platforms, at least the popular ones. And then, of course, the app should be where you can add whatever you use. So if you use Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, you ought to be able to add that inside the app. And then, of course, add whatever streaming information that needs to be added in that app. And it streams from your computer via one camera. Is that so hard? I know I'm not the first one to ever think of this. Okay? So I'm just asking the question. Don't get upset. It just makes all the sense in the world. Because I ain't got time to be going out to Instagram. Hell, I can't even remember all of them now. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Let's see, what else is out there? Pinterest. And it's just so many. It's like 2 million of them. I can't remember all of them. I'm old. I got too much stuff on my mind to be worrying about all these apps. I'm about apped out. Yeah, I got an app for that. They even got a yoga app now. I'm serious. I've been thinking about doing some yoga. Seriously, I have been seriously thinking about doing some yoga because I'm having a lot of problems with arthritis, and these old football injuries are really kicking my tail. So someone has suggested, hey man, you ought to try yoga. And I said, athletes have done it before, so I've been thinking about doing it. So I get this yoga app on my phone. I ended up deleting it. Have you did your yoga today? It's time for a yoga moment. God, whatever. 855-525-5683 is the number. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We are going to do Black Facts. By the way, yesterday, if you did not hear, the mayor, you can go out and download the show. The best place to go is go to Black Focus Radio on YouTube, and you can hear the entire show. Some of the show cut off on Facebook, but you can hear the entire show if you go to YouTube. Okay, so just do that for me, if you don't mind. I think you'll enjoy that. All right. I'm looking at the wrong computer. So go ahead and hit that black fact sounder. By the way, did we do the news?
No, we haven't yet.
Okay. Tell you what, stop that. Let's do the news. Remember that news should have went right after. Hear my mic. The news should have went right after the open.
Oh, I thought you were talking to it.
It goes right after the open. And then come back with the black facts.
Dynamic Black Facts. Our culture, our history, our people.
All right. So we're going to do some black facts today, and I had a couple of them I'm going to do, but I want to do one that kind of stood out to me and kind of annoyed me. And in fact, let me just put it this way. They all annoy me because they're all just ridiculous. But this particular one right here, because I always find it interesting that Donald Trump and its ilk, notice I said its ilk, always want to challenge black people in their patriotism. Oh, if you don't love America, you don't need to be here. Why don't you go back where you came from? Aren't y'all tired of hearing that? Well, you all always trying to challenge black patriotism. And I've told you over and over again that black people have been the most patriotic people on this continent as it relates to America. In fact, Americans have not even been patriotic to America. See the Confederate Civil War. Okay? White people waged war against white people in America. All right? So black people in fact, the African nation is the only nation that has not officially waged war against the United States in its history. Okay? Y'all get that right? So when I saw this article today, it really annoyed me. It says how the GI Bill's promise was denied to millions of black veterans. Now, those during World War II. All those black folks, the Red Tails and all those guys who fought in 1942 to 45 to make sure that America could remain free, although those same black men were not free at home. Those same black men, when they captured German soldiers, the same German soldiers that were trying to kill them and white soldiers, white American soldiers, when those black soldiers captured German soldiers and they were put on the prison train, the black soldiers had to give up their seats and go to the backs of the train so that they could give those seats to the Germans. Hello? See, I'm tired of you talking about black folks ain't patriotic because you can tell a lie all you want, and eventually it may become the truth. But long as I'm alive, it's still a lie. So I wanted to read this article because I thought it's important. Again, it speaks to the proof, the point that reparations are definitely in order. Some of y'all don't know what the GI Bill is. See, well, let me just read this to you, okay? The sweeping bill promised prosperity to veterans. So why didn't black Americans benefit? When Eugene Burnett saw the neat tract of houses in Leavenworth, New York, he knew he wanted one. It was 1949, and he was ready to settle down in a larger home with his family. The newly established Long Island suburb seemed to be the perfect place to begin their post-war life one that he hoped would be improved with the help of the GI Bill, a piece of sweeping legislation aimed at helping World War II veterans like Burnett prosper after the war. But when he spoke to a salesman about buying the house using a GI guaranteed mortgage, the door to the suburban life of Leviton slammed firmly in his face. The suburb wasn't open to black residents. You know, those same black residents I was just talking about who fought so y'all could have that suburb. But I digress. I'm sorry, I threw that in there. It was as though it wasn't real, Burnett's wife Bernice recalled. Look at this house. Can you imagine having this? And then from them to tell me, because of the color of my skin, that I can't be part of it. The Burnetts weren't the only black Americans from whom the promise of the GI Bill turned out to be an illusion. Though the bill helped white Americans prosper and accumulate wealth in the post-war years, it didn't deliver on that promise for veterans of color. In fact, the wide disparity in the bill's implementation ended up helping drive growing gaps in wealth, education, civil rights between black and white Americans. So there we are again, another opportunity for America to help black people. Now these black people went and fought. These black people put their lives on the line, and here again, America turns its back on black people. While the GI Bill's language did not specify exclude African American veterans from its benefits, it was structured in a way that ultimately shut the doors for the 1.2 million black veterans who had bravely served their country during World War II in segregated ranks. When lawmakers began drafting the GI Bill in 1944, some Southern Democrats feared that returning black veterans would use public sympathy for veterans to advocate against Jim Crow laws. Oh, so you can go fight for us. You can go have bullets whizzing across over your head, artillery dropped on you, but we want to make sure that when you come back to America, you're still a nigga. Hello? To make sure that the GI Bill largely benefited white people, the Southern Democrats drew on tactics they had previously used to ensure that the New Deal helped as few blacks as possible. Y'all remember the New Deal, right? The New Deal was put forth by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and many people have postulated over the years and analyzed that during that time, that was coming out of the Depression, that black folks still didn't benefit from the New Deal, and that was because Southern Democrats had tried to ensure that that happened. In fact, they didn't want black folks to have nothing. During the drafting of the law, the chair of the House of Veterans Committee, Mississippi Congressman John Rankin, played hardball and insisted that the program be administered by individual states instead of the federal government. He got his way. Rankin was known for his virulent racism. He defended segregation, opposed interracial marriage, and had even proposed legislation to confine, then deport every person with Japanese heritage during World War II. When the bill came up to committee vote, he stonewalled in an attempt to gut another provision that entitled all veterans to $20 a week of unemployment compensation for a year. Rankin knew this would represent a significant gain for black Southerners, so he refused to cast a critical proxy vote in protest. The American Legion ended up tracking down the congressman who had left his proxy vote with Rankin and flying him to Washington to break the deadlock. Roosevelt signed the Serviceman Readjustment Act into law on June 22, 1944. Only weeks after the D-Day offensive began, it ushered into law sweeping benefits for veterans, including college tuition, low-cost home loans, and unemployment insurance. From the start, black veterans had trouble securing the GI Bill's benefits. Some could not access benefits because they had not been given an honorable discharge, and a much larger number of black veterans were discharged dishonorably than their white counterparts. Oh yeah, you come fight for us, but we're going to discharge you dishonorably. Veterans who did qualify could not find facilities that delivered on the bill's promise. Black veterans in vocational training programs at a segregated high school in Indianapolis were unable to participate in activities related to plumbing, electricity, printing because adequate equipment was only available for white students. Simple intimidation kept others from enjoying GI Bill benefits. In 1947, for example, a crowd hurled rocks at black veterans as they moved into Chicago housing development. Thousands of black veterans were attacked in the years following World War II, and some were singled out and lynched. Though Rankin had lost the battle to exclude black men from VA unemployment insurance, it was doled out inequitably. Men who applied for unemployment benefits were kicked out of the program if any other work was available to them, even work that provided less than subsistence wages. Southern postmasters were even accused of refusing to deliver the forms black veterans needed to fill out to receive their unemployment benefits. Black veterans and civil rights groups protested their treatment, calling for protections like black involvement in the VA and non-discriminatory loans. But the racial disparities in the implementation of the GI Bill had already been set in motion. As the years went on, white veterans flowed into newly created suburbs where they began amassing wealth and skilled positions. But black veterans lacked those opportunities. The majority of skilled jobs were given to white workers. The post-war housing boom almost entirely excluded black Americans, most of whom remained in cities that received less and less investment from business and banks. Though the GI Bill guaranteed low-interest mortgages and other loans, they were not administered by the VA itself. Thus, the VA could co-sign, but not actually guarantee the loans. This gave white-run financial institutions free rein to refuse mortgages and loans to black people. A decades-old practice of marking maps by race to characterize the risk of lending money and providing insurance made purchasing a home even more difficult for black veterans. Lenders froze out poorer neighborhoods, ensuring that loans, assistance, and insurance would be denied. And new white suburbs often came with overtly racist covenants that denied entry to black people. You know, that was called redlining. It's done today. So let me make this point here, okay? Because all of this has been done over and over and over again. So when we talk about reparations, hit that sounder for me to close. That's the sounder for not the show close, the Black Facts close. That you hit the close or the open. Need to pay attention.
Keep listening to Black Focus Radio for more dynamic Black facts, our culture, our history, our country, radio.
All right, so here's the point. I've told you over and over again, when we talk about reparations, I don't want anybody telling me it's going to be set up in some type of government program. I just gave you another example, okay? We started with the Freedmen's Bureau. The Freedmen's Bureau was designed to assimilate ex-slaves into normal society. It was given money. Slaves were supposed to get 40 acres and a mule. They got none of that. In fact, slave owners got money for losing slaves, whereas slaves got nothing. That was a government program that didn't come to fruition. Then we went through the Depression. Okay? we went through the Depression, and there were programs that were supposed to be designed to help all citizens of America. And I just told you that John Rankin from Mississippi, a virulent racist, sought to undermine that to make sure that programs were not designed that would help black people. All right? So there again was another so-called set-up government program designed to help black people, and it didn't help any. Now here we have, after the war, black men who had laid their lives on the line to protect an America that didn't even treat them as third-class citizens, were lied to, and the program that was set up to help them was pilfered again by white men. Let's move to the 60s. The same thing occurred with the so-called, with Johnson's attack on poverty. Yeah, they attacked poverty, right? They didn't attack poverty itself. They attacked the people who were suffering from poverty. Black people. It didn't help. So I've just given you 4 instances in history as to why the government needs to keep his damn hands off of my reparations. Tell me how much I'm going to get. Don't tell me I need to go to some program who's going to pencil it out to me here and there. I needs my money like a hog needs slop. And anybody out there, any Republican, Democrat, the like, I don't care if you're running for dog catcher. If you're not for reparations, then I'm not for you. Period. End of story. And you can get mad all you want. That's the bottom line on that. So I'm going to talk about the T's, and when we come back, we'll jump in the show a little bit. So we're going to get ready to take a quick break. But before we do that, a couple of things. I'm laughing out loud at the Repugnant Party as they stand behind the racist in chief. You can go ahead and start the music. Okay? You need to spread that out wide enough so you can read it. It's the bed. It's in the same place. So, I'm laughing out loud at the racist in chief and the Republican Party turning somersaults trying to couch what this racist has said. Also, should the NAACP disinvite the racist in chief? I understand that there's a standing invitation for the President of the United States to come and talk to the NAACP. I think here's an opportunity where he needs to be disinvited. News on Eric Garner and Botham Jean murderers. You're not going to be happy. Okay? And who the hell is the Coalition of African American Pastors, and why are you attending their churches? And also, I'm going to tell you how you can fix this race problem. I've told you before, I'm going to put some numbers behind that today. That's all coming up here in just a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com. Skip. All right, you need to go ahead and go to the stop set. Let it play about 5 seconds and go to the stop set. Hey, what's up, people? Appreciate you joining the show. Oh, let me see if I can get the Twitter up real fast.
We are here to assist you in building your brand.
Hi, I'm attorney Lewis Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help with your legal matter. Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503-5095. Don't face your legal issues alone. You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Lewis Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
I'm so glad I found the Kick Above. It's like my very own personal training studio. A Kick Above removed the guesswork and intimidation and offered me a very supportive and structured environment specific to my personal goals. Kim Everett and her certified personal trainers even offered nutritional guidelines for my personal workout. It's about me at a Kick Above. Call 501-868-8850 or go to akickabove.com. Now, what am I wearing tonight? Thanks to a Kick Above, I look marvelous.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services so as to serve you well. Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're legal. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality engagement and service you can get at Mitchell Funeral Home.
Welcome to Black Focus. The show designed. You've been listening.
It should just be playing the bed. All right, welcome back to the show. Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. I'm trying to get us up on Twitter real fast. A lot of stuff to talk about today. I think I'll start with some of the news stuff and then we'll go from there. How about that? You know, I read the feed to you. Y'all understand what I'm saying about that, right? So the first thing, and it's pretty obvious. Should the NAACP disinvite Donald Trump to speak to their body? You know, the NAACP convention is next week. And from what I understand, there is a standing invitation for the president, all presidents every year, to come and speak to them. Now, obviously, the Republican Party over the years have denied or not went and spoke to. In other words, hey, they don't want to talk to black people, so they ain't going to come to your event. That shows you how much they care about you. But in this particular case, although it's a standing invitation just for the etiquette of it all, just for, it's almost like you inviting George Wallace to come and speak to your event. So I think that they are, and I'll this is from Joe Madison. I listened to a little bit of him yesterday. Joe Madison, he's called the Black Eagle. He does a show on Sirius Radio. And he talked about him. He was, and by the way, Joe Madison is a former board member. Okay? A former board member. Participated in an NAACP a lot. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not an NAACP member. I'm not a member because I think the NAACP has failed us. I have a lot of friends who are NAACP members. But I cannot support an organization that I feel like that was designed to really help black people and has morphed into some organization that it does little or no advocacy for black issues. Now, there are certain pockets of NAACP presidents who do, but in this particular case, most of them don't. But be that as it may, woe be unto me, because I don't have the right to tell them anything because I'm not a member. But I think they need to disinvite him. This man is clearly a racist. Was it Andrew Gillum, when he was in his presidential race, when they asked about his opponent, do you think that your opponent is a racist? And he said, I don't really know if he's racist. But there sure are a lot of other people who are racist, who are his friends, who support him. So if you've got racists supporting you, that usually says that you're probably a racist. That's usually what that says. So let me give an example of that. Former Ku Klux Klan leader David Duke is running for Senate in Louisiana. And he says Donald Trump's popularity is helping him in the race. So here's an avowed former Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. He says Donald Trump is helping him in his race. Is Donald Trump a racist? Duke says, I love it. The fact that Donald Trump's doing so well, it proves that I'm winning. I'm winning. Duke also told the Los Angeles Times that Trump's proposed policies, like building a wall along the border of Mexico and banning Muslims from entering the country, show the country is open to a white power message. Let me read that again. Here's what David Duke said about Donald Trump. It's because y'all don't want to believe nobody. Okay? Duke told the Los Angeles Times that Trump's proposed policies, like building a wall along the border with Mexico and banning Muslims from entering the country, show the country is open to a white power message. He's talking about it in a visceral way. Trump is talking implicitly. I'm talking explicitly. Hello? Are y'all paying attention yet? See, while y'all running around still thinking that, all we got to do is show them that we are okay, then they'll like us. Dude, that dog ain't gonna hunt. These people are avowed racist. They make no bones about it. Now they are open and in your faces. And you all you can do is pray about it. All you can do is quote scripture to me. All you can do is quote Dr. King. And I tell you, don't quote Dr. King to me, because Dr. King wasn't a pacifist. They've tried to label him as that. Yes, he had a non-violent message, but what he stood for was standing for yourselves. That organization and that activism wasn't pacifism. It was activism. But y'all sitting around, it's okay. It's okay. Coming up later on, I'm going to tell you how to fix this problem. Y'all don't want to hear it. Little old David Coleman has the answer to fixing the race problem in America. You're not going to do it because you're afraid to do it, but I'm going to tell you how to do it. And hey, I didn't come up with it. It simply fell in my lap because I studied history. You know what it is. I talk about it all the time. Take your money away from them. But you're not going to do that. 855-525-5683 is the number. Here we are with this guy. And what makes it even worse is the fact that the Republican Party has turned somersaults to defend this racist. What does this tell you? I was listening to their press conference this morning. 4 Republicans from the House came out and had a trumped up, and pun intended, trumped up press conference, and instead of, and they were asked, do you agree with the comments of the president? And not one of them. Lynn Cheney is one of them, who, look, she's detestable anyway, because you know whose daughter that is, right? Dick Cheney's daughter. That family has no morals at all. But not one of those 4 congressmen said that they disavowed the message what Donald Trump said. Not one of them. In fact, instead of saying, hey, what he said was racist and there's no place for that in this country, they said, they simply doubled down on what he said. And then what really ticked me off, was when they said it was the party. How can he be racist? We're the party of Lincoln. Well, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I debunked that argument about the party of Lincoln. Y'all remember that, right? When I meticulously broke down how Lincoln felt about the slaves. You remember that show? How I read quotes from Lincoln. Lincoln didn't care about the slaves. And then even after Lincoln was murdered, what did the Republican Party do for black people? So even if you say, we are the party of Lincoln, after Lincoln, what did you do? So from 1865, with the Emancipation Proclamation, to 1965, that's 100 damn years. What did you do, Republicans? You didn't do a damn thing. So to keep ringing in and screaming that mantra, we are the party of Lincoln, that's a joke, because even Lincoln didn't want to free the slaves. He had no choice. And then after they were free, there was no apparatus put together to make sure that these slaves remained free. Here's what you did. You created the 13th Amendment. And with push from southern states, you added the process, or the part about in case of incarceration. And then what did you do? You created vagrancy laws, loitering laws, where you can then go out and rearrest people who had been free. Y'all remember that, don't you? And you put them back into slavery. Y'all remember that, Republicans? Y'all are a joke. Y'all are a joke. And see, the deal is that if you don't know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. And part of the problem is the reason that we're repeating this mess is because black folks don't know their history. We're in this mess again because black folks don't know their history. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. This is crazy stuff here. Finally, the media is coming out and calling Donald Trump a racist. It took them long enough. I mean, what exactly do you have to do to be a racist in America? Let's see here. You own houses and you don't want black people living in your property. Would that make you a racist? Let's see here. Your father was a Ku Klux Klan member. Would that make you a racist? You would advocate for the death penalty of 5 innocent black teens. And you filled out you took out a 4-page ad in one of the most expensive newspapers in America, the New York Times, advocating for those 5 innocent young black men to be put to death. Would that make you a racist? you launch one of the most racist campaigns in the history of modern times. And before you even began running for president, you started calling Barack Obama the first African American president or the first black president. You started calling him, he wasn't even American. You were publicly asking for his papers. Does that make you a racist? You attack black congresswomen. In fact, you attacked one of them who was supporting a young black male who had been killed in the line of duty defending America. Does that make you a racist? I'm asking for someone who might know, because I'm a little confused now, because typically when someone acts like a racist, they're typically racist. Y'all get that, right? So I want to know how the Republican Party, anyone, now there have been one or two of them who have come out and said something. But I want to know how the Republican Party can sit here today with a straight face and tell me they're not racist. I want to know, more importantly, because I know you're racist. I judge a man by his acts, not by his words. And you all can get up there and parse Donald Trump's words all you want. Go right ahead. See, when you do that, it suggests to us that you think we're stupid. It suggests to us that we don't know how to understand sentence structure and syntax. You talk as though you, white man, is the only one that's educated, is the only one that knows how to analyze words. So the Republican Party is racist. I've been saying that for a long time. And it doesn't, I'm not going to make a qualifier and say, well, the Democrats are too. I'm not going to make that qualifier. I'm talking about today. We can certainly go back in history and identify the Democrats. In fact, that Rankin guy, John Rankin, who I talked about in the Black Facts, was a Southern Democrat who did not want black veterans to get their fair share once they came back to America. So yes, both parties are dirty. Both parties are nasty. But in this day and time, the only party that I see in front of me who doesn't like me because of the color of my skin, because of this beautiful stuff that makes my skin black called melanin, and they're jealous of it, is the Republican Party. Is the Republican Party. And they need to be voted out. They need to be gotten rid of. And when you can have a David Duke stating unequivocally that Donald Trump is showing the country is open to a white power message. Black people, what y'all thinking about here? What are y'all gonna do? Because we're seeing it happen before our eyes, and that's the amazing thing about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you all aren't as woke as I thought you were. Maybe you're not. Because how can you continue to allow these people to do this to us and you don't do anything? How can you continue to allow your ministers, because I'm about to get on them in a minute, how can you continue to allow ministers to lie and cheat and steal from you and you don't do anything? They don't support anything you do. I'm confused. Maybe y'all aren't as woke as you think you are. Now, you know what? I know what it is. You're afraid. You're afraid that you're going to lose every little thing that you have. But you know what happens? If the Republican Party passes its agenda, then you're going to lose everything that you've accumulated. That's their goal. Their goal is to make you as poor and turn back the clock. But y'all don't get it. Y'all sit around like bumps on a log, not understanding that these people are, this is against you. This has nothing to do with political party. It has everything to do with the color of your skin. This president has proven it, and so has this party. Not one of them yesterday would be, look, when there were media outlets who were trying to get them to say Donald Trump, if you won't even say Donald Trump is racist, at least you could say is what you said was racist. They wouldn't even do that. You know, I have friends and loved ones that I love vehemently. But every now and then, things happen. They do things, and they're wrong. I have to tell them, hey, bro, you wrong on that. Hey, son, you wrong on that. Hey, P, my dog, you wrong on that. All of us have those situations that we approach where we are good friends with friends, relatives, whatever. And they do something wrong and you call them out on it. I expect my friends to do that. I expect you to do that when you listen to this show. If there's something that I say on this show that is wrong, that is factually incorrect, I want you to call me out on it. I don't have a problem with that. Even if you disagree with my opinion on what I say, you're more than welcome to call this show. I will give you full honors and let you speak your piece, unlike most shows. That doesn't mean that we're going to agree. We can sometimes agree to disagree. But the point I'm trying to make is this Republican Party won't even agree to disagree with this fool in the White House. And instead, they attack those 4 women. Man. And y'all sitting around like bumps on the log. Oh, say, can you see? Really? No, I don't stand for the national anthem. Why should I? That anthem doesn't represent me. It doesn't represent me. And any black person that think it does, you're a damn fool. Because if many, even people who are not openly racist, if they had their druthers, they would rather have you on the back of the bus. We've seen it now, too many instances. Let me give you multiple instances, but let me start with just the people who call police on black people for doing black things. Did you see the story yesterday about the sheriff, the black sheriff, who went into a DMV office with his weapon, and the deputy poop butt security guard, the Barney Fife, who was hired and is probably making $7.25 an hour, pulled his weapon on the police officer, on the sheriff. The sheriff then turned his back and walked out, and he continued to follow the sheriff with his weapon drawn and could have shot the guy in the back. And the sheriff went on to say, he said, look, all as I was walking to my vehicle, I was thinking about I was about to be killed. I was about to be shot in my back. That's a sheriff. That's a black sheriff. How many times has police been called on black people doing normal things, like sitting in the park, like picking up trash at buildings that they own? How many times have we seen that? How many times have little black girls who were selling lemonade outside had the police called on them? How many times? Are y'all not paying attention? These are supposed to be, and the most recent one, where the guy challenged the black guy who was waiting on a disabled man, And the black guy was an engineer. And the white guys come back and apologize. I didn't really mean to call the police on. Yeah, you did. Even his 6-year-old son was begging him, don't do it, Dad. You're wrong. Don't do it, Dad. Come on, folks. This is crazy. This is crazy. Are you all not under? What am I missing? I mean, what do I need to say to wake you up? I'm on here every day. I talk about these things every day, not because I want to, but because I have to. No one else will do it. Little Rock is in the condition that it's in because no one will speak up about the racism and the bigotry that is going on right here in this city, right here in these neighborhoods. Gentrification is happening right before our very eyes, and not one black minister, not one black leader, not one black anybody will stand up and say, hey, we need to stop this. You complain about crime and how the murder is taking place and all of the crime that is taking place in Little Rock and not even understanding why it's happening. You don't even understand that white supremacy is why it's happening. Keeping your neighborhoods redlined, keeping your rents high, contributes to that poverty, that life of desperation where you're willing to take somebody else's because you can't go out and get a job yourself. Not because you can't afford it, not because you're not smart enough, simply because of white supremacy. Come on, brothers and sisters. This is crazy. So the Republican Party, I call them the Repugnant Party. I've been calling them the Repugnant Party for some time now. And that name is certainly appropriate at this point. The Repugnant Party couldn't even come out yesterday. Couldn't even come out yesterday and speak and say that what Donald Trump said to those black women was racist. We know he's a racist. Even if you're not going to say that, you could at least point to individual issues and disagree with it. You couldn't even come out and say yesterday that the Republican Party was racist. It was amazing to me as I watched the news yesterday evening and how all of those Republicans were running from the cameras when reporters were coming up to them, asking them your thoughts on the president's comments. What does that tell you? Tom Cotton, where are you? Where are you? Arkansas, what about Asa Hutchinson? Where are you? I just want to know. Because nobody is saying a damn thing. Nothing. Oh, I forgot about the white ministers, the white churches. I forgot about the white churches. You know, that same man that y'all study in the Bible. You know, that one. Yeah, him that y'all claim that you love. Y'all know him, right? I hadn't heard any of you. What about you, Graham? What about you, Paula White? What about y'all, man? Where y'all at? What about John Boozman from Arkansas? He's a Republican right here, a senior senator. What about John Boozman? Has anyone heard from John Boozman on whether or not the president is a racist? Or whether or not what the president said was racist? Has anyone heard from John Boozman? Anybody? What about Eric Crawford? Has anyone heard from him? He's a state representative from the 1st District. Has anyone heard from him? What about French Hill? Steve Womack? What about Bruce Westerman? Hey, has anyone heard from the Republican delegation from Arkansas? Has anyone heard them condemn what Donald Trump just said? Music. Has anyone? Started loading. I'm just asking the question. I haven't heard them, and you know, I read a lot of news. I'm a news junkie. We're going to go out and take the top of the hour break. We'll be back in a moment. We're listening to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com. You need to play a stop set, top drop, disclaimer, open, and then the news. What? Yes, out of this. What did you have? Oreos.
I talked to you for a moment. How many people have come up to you and said, hey, I didn't know you had a business? Yeah, that could happen when you don't have it. I have a solution. Advertise. Go ahead and and let the world know that you're in business. I know what you're thinking. Advertising is so expensive. I've got a great package for you that will cut your expense and increase your bottom line. It's only $125. Let's start up a new business. Call me.
What do you say I need to stop saying disclaimer?
5540. And I'll put together a package specifically for your business. Now is the time to tell the world, hey, I'm in business. Come spend your money on quality goods in my store. Let us help you at joynetradio.com. Here's the number. Call me 615-554-0568. We are here to assist you in building your brand.
Hi, I'm attorney for this for the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help you build your brand. Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503-5095. Don't face no legal issues alone. You can use comprehensive provide you with the best legal. Our office address is 415 North Virginia, in Little Rock.
I'm so glad I found the Kick Above. It's like my very own personal training studio. A Kick Above removed the guesswork and intimidation and offered me a very supportive and structured environment specific to my personal goals. Kim Leverett and her certified personal trainers even offered nutritional guidelines for my personal workout. It's about me at a Kick Above. Call 501-868-8850 or go to akickabove.com. Now, what am I wearing tonight? Thanks to a Kick Above, I look marvelous.
Guess who's on Joynet Radio? It's your girl Ellen J with Coffee Conversations with Lakeisha. Coffee Conversations with Lakeisha is an interactive online daily devotional that rightly divides the Word of God. It's Kingdom, baby. Join us Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. Remember, that's weekday mornings, 5 a.m. at joynetradio.com.
You got it. He's the Rock's answer to your aggravation. Joy Network.
Disclaimer.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5685.
You're exactly right, Julian.
and Robert Webb.
All right, welcome back to the show, the second hour of the show, Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. Clayton Williams is on the wheels of steel today. Doing a good job. A lot of stuff to talk about. Spent the last part of the last hour, talking about the racist in chief and why the Repugnant Party refuses to stand up and be men. You know, sometimes you got to stand up and be a man. Sometimes you got to stand up and be an adult. You know, I like people who doesn't run with the tide. I like people who are willing to stand their ground. I taught my kids, be the unicorn. Don't go just because everybody else is going. Don't do it just because everybody else is doing it. Because quite often what will happen is if you do it, then you end up looking like a fool. And that's what's happening right now. That's what's happening right now. 855-525-5683. Not one Republican congressman has come out and stood against what Donald Trump, not just what he's recently been saying, from the beginning. You're more concerned about your office than you're concerned about the Constitution of the United States. Don't talk to me about rule of law. Don't talk to me about defending the honor of this country. Don't you dare, Republican congressman, in your press conference this morning, dare. It was amazing to me in that press conference. If you all have not seen it, here they are talking about, they disagreed with Obama, but they respected the office. They always refer to him as Mr. President. You're a damn lie. You all are the same people that the day of Obama's inauguration, you all powwowed down the block to figure out a way that you could throw at him in any attempt that he made to help this country. And you did that. And you did it proudly. And the difference between Barack Obama and Donald Trump is light years in character, in morality, you name it. But y'all didn't do a damn thing to help Obama. And you're going to get in that press conference this morning and try to chastise the Democrats? Really? Man, that's crazy. 855-525. Here in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you how we can fix this problem. Y'all don't want to hear it, but I'm going to tell you how much money your kids are really worth to white people. And if you take that money away from them, I promise you, things would change overnight. You got to have guts to beat the bully. You got to punch him in the nose. (855-525). I'm looking for Tom Cotton. I'm looking for any Republican that's listening to this show. If you know a Republican, I invite him to come on this show, him or her, to come on this show and renounce Donald Trump and his racist bullhorns. But you won't do it because you have no character. You have no guts. You have no morals. And what makes it more important that to show you have no morals because you run around and tout the love of Jesus Christ. You run around and talk about Jesus and God and your Christianity and your faith. You have no morals. None of you. 855-525-5683 is the number. Okay. Couple other things real fast. Speaking of morals. So the Justice Department has decided that they will not prosecute Daniel Pantaleo for killing Eric Garner. Where all of us saw it. That's what killed. See, this is what I'm talking about, folks. We all saw Eric Garner being murdered live. We saw it. We know that the police officer used an illegal chokehold. We heard Eric Garner gasping, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe." We even heard the distasteful legal team of Pantaleo say that, oh, he was fat and he was going to die anyway. Hey, Cliff, how's it going? How distasteful are these people? How distasteful are they? So now the Justice Department has decided that they won't prosecute this murderer. Another white cop killed a black man who is now walking free and is considered a hero by the majority of white people in America. I'd say about 80%. You know, it was a majority white jury who basically acquitted this murderer. This is why I'm telling you that Amber Geiger, see, I'm trying to give y'all some help here. What is the tipping point for black people doing something about these murders that are happening by police officers and they're walking away with it? What's the tipping point? We've seen it happen all kinds of ways. What is that tipping point for black people? I'm wondering here, because the reason they keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing is because you hadn't pushed back. I'm going to tell you how you can push back in just a moment. But what is that tipping point? Now, I believe, unfortunately, that whenever Amber Geiger goes to trial, she's going to be tried by an all-white jury. And when I say all white, even if you have two black people on there, it's still all white. And she's going to get off. Y'all remember Amber Geiger, don't you? You know, she's a little white woman who walked into another man's apartment and killed him. That man wasn't a suspect. He wasn't doing anything but walking around. In fact, he wasn't even walking around in his drawers. He was asleep. Heard his door open, went to see what it was, and was shot and killed. So already now, the lawyers for Amber Geiger, they want the murder trial to be moved to a whiter, more conservative county. They want it moved out of Dallas County. All right? They want more white folks on the jury. So the white folks will feel sorry for Amber Geiger and maybe acquit her. And they'll say, see, it's the reason she shot him because he was renting an apartment in her apartment complex. And black people should not have been renting an apartment in her apartment complex. That's what some of y'all say when black kids get killed. Well, you know, he shouldn't have been out there. You know, he should have obeyed. You know, he should have did this. He should have did that. Y'all are even justifying police killing us. So I'm wondering if the case with Amber Geiger will be the tipping point. I'm wondering. Because there is no way on God's green earth that this girl should not be convicted. But unfortunately, I hate to say it, she's going to get acquitted. She's going to get a slap on the wrist. I hate to say it. So I'm asking you again. If a man, a black man, because see, y'all can't make up an excuse for him. Botham John was a good young man who was, by the way, graduated from Harding University, a few miles up the street from Little Rock. Loved by a lot of white folks. You know, Harding University is a white university. He was a Christian. You know, because Harding University is a Christian university too. Y'all know that, right? Y'all remember all those white folks who went to Botham John's funeral from Arkansas, right? They love them some Botham John. I wonder what y'all saying right now. Because I know many of you all up in that area voted for Donald Trump. I just want to know. So if Botham John's murderer gets off, what's the tipping point? What are y'all going to do? Are you going to just continue to sit around, see, yeah, that's the system. Yeah, see, they don't give a damn about black folks. Well, hell, we already know that. What are you going to do about it? I ask this question every time we talk about these issues. What are you going to do about it? Not what I'm going to do about it. I'm already doing something about it. It has to be individual. And then those individual actions must form a mass action. So what are you going to do about it? Don't point the finger at me. I'm not going to point the finger at Miss Ivy or Mr. Williams over here. I'm going to point the finger at myself. I'm going to take stock of what I'm going to do about it. And what I do about it every day on this show is to try to open your minds to understand that you are being abused by a system that doesn't give a damn about you as a black person. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to help you here in just a moment. I'm going to show you here in just a moment. For the first time, I'm telling you, I got the cure. I know how to fix this problem. I'm not nobody special, but it's common sense. I got the cure. 855. And I'm not exaggerating. I have the cure. I can fix this race problem in America from a black perspective if you are willing to do it. And I'm going to throw some numbers at you here in just a moment. Let's see here. One other story I want to make sure I cover before I get into the cure of fixing the race problem. See, nobody's going to talk about how my fix because they're scared. By the way, the USA Today's editorial board has come out and said Trump is unfit for the presidency. But the Republican Party is still yet to say a word. Anybody seen the Republican Party lately? Oh, that's right. They were going to a KKK retreat, right? 855-525-5683. One other note, part of the problem of this racism and bigotry, how it has reared its ugly head, is the fact that Fox News has been a major contributor to lies. Just a quick note about Fox News. Fact checker finds 60% of Fox News statements to either be mostly false or a lie. Now, wait a minute. You're telling me that a major media outlet in America, 60% of their content, 60% is mostly false or a lie? Wow. Y'all still listen. I know black folks who watch Fox religiously. When I watch Fox, I watch it for comedy. Because I sit there and laugh at the lies. I mean, it's almost to the point the lies are so obvious now that you can pick them out. You don't need anyone to pick them out for you. You don't need anybody to come and fact check behind them. The lies are so obvious and blatant. 60% of their content is either mostly false or an outright lie. That's Fox News for you, folks. One other note. Y'all know Kamala Harris. Y'all know I'm not for Kamala Harris. Let me give you another reason why I'm not for Kamala Harris. And by the way, Oprah and Gail, why hadn't y'all said anything about Jeffrey Epstein? Oh, that's right. He gave y'all money, didn't he? You know Jeffrey Epstein. You know that guy who has been, I heard this morning that they found like diamonds in his safe. they found a passport with it was for him to be Saudi Arabia, and they found over 300 pictures of girls 14, 13 years old. They're also concerned about whose names came up in that safe. Now, why would someone have diamonds, cash, and a passport that says you're from Saudi Arabia? Oh, I know. That's a escape box. Y'all know what an escape box is? An escape box is what criminals make. They stash some cash. So in case they have to make a run quickly, see, diamonds are portable. You can throw diamonds in a briefcase and you can have $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 worth of diamonds in a briefcase. Cash, a passport, that was an escape box. What they were doing, he had set up that if he had to make a break for it, he had cash, he had diamonds, he had a fake passport. He was ready to make a run. Hello? That's Jeffrey Epstein. That's the same guy that gave Gail and Oprah Winfrey money. Who's their buddy. Oprah has been pretty damn quiet on Jeffrey Epstein. Hadn't she? Yeah, In comes Kamala Harris. Apparently Kamala Harris took money from the law firm that represented Epstein the same day she threw shade on it. Hello? Kamala Harris called on top Justice Department officials to recuse themselves from any matter related to Jeffrey Epstein last Tuesday. That same day, her husband put on a campaign fundraiser hosted by 6 partners of Epstein's law firm, Kirkland and Ellis. A handful of employees and partners of the firm donated roughly $6,000 to Harris in the first quarter of this year. Did I tell y'all why I'm not voting for Kamala Harris? God, please don't let her get the nomination. I'm just saying. Okay, tell you what, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about the Coalition for African American Preachers, and then I'm going to tell you how we can fix this race problem in America. Y'all ain't going to like it, but it'll work. Music. We'll be back. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices on joinnetradio.com. Your cue when I say we're getting ready to take a break, that ought to be your cue. I got to start the music. I shouldn't have to tell you. Go ahead and play the stop set. Okay. I know I saw a website out there.
1966, at Richard Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of life and legacy.
Here it is.
Staff take great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sale are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Richard Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services. So,
hey, what's up, Cliff?
Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611.
Yes.
Get your funeral services.
You always play a bed coming in and a bed going out.
Walk through this today. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on. At Mitchell Funeral Home.
Hi, I'm attorney Lewis Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help you through this matter. Whether it's showing the business, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. 501 503.
Oh man, not my dog GA.
Don't face your legal issues alone. Visit an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 Focus Union, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Peter Thomas, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
I'm so glad I found a kicker bug. It's like my very own personal training studio. A kicker bug removed the guesswork and intimidation and offered me a very supportive and structured environment specific to my personal goals. Kim Redmond and her certified personal trainer even offered nutrition guidelines for my personal goals. So not only do I have a kicker bug, call 501-868-8850 or go to akickerbug.com. Man, I love my legs now. Thanks to kicker bug, I love this.
Hi, this is Ivan from Habibi's 4317 East Broadway in North Newark. We still have the green top at your very next stop. The same great service for your life. Give us a call on 01-663-1553 or 664-2992 or call our toll-free number 1-877 Habibi1. Diapers, ports, hospital beds, wheelchairs, Simply Fit, diabetic supplies, underpads, and more. Your durable medical supply center.
Guess who's on Repugnant Radio? It's your girl, Elevated Coffee Conversations with Lakeisha. Coffee Conversations with Lakeisha is an interactive online dating devotional that's rightly divided the word of God. It's Kingdom, baby. Join us Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's weekday mornings, 5 a.m. at RepugnantRadio.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me if you want to join the show. You can always hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, whatever the case may be. We're trying to stream this thing. So I think this next story will segue into how we can fix this racial problem. So, this story popped up on my wall yesterday, and maybe someone sent it to me. Anytime you want to send me a story and you say, "Hey, Dave, check this out," I typically will go out and look at it. That doesn't mean I'm gonna have it on the show, but I read just about everything you send me. At least I try to. Okay. So there's an organization that I didn't even know existed, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why they're making this statement. Okay. One of them is called this one is called the Coalition of African American Pastors. Okay? They claim that hard left anti-American politics. That's what they're calling Colin Kaepernick's stand. By the way, if you're listening to the show, I have on a Colin Kaepernick shirt. I didn't wear this purposely today, but if you notice, it says sometimes you have to kneel to take a stand. Okay? I got a feeling that these pastors were some of those who didn't want Dr. King to march. I don't know. Now, Bill Owens, who is the president of CAP, claims that he was a civil rights icon. Never heard of him. But I do know that Bill Owens is selling a book. He just released a book, and me being an author myself, what better way to create a vibe and get people to buy your book is to go against the grain. Again, I think Bill Owens is selling out his people. Okay? I really do. You can do what you want. But I went out to their website, and you know what disturbs me even more? That I see a picture of a friend of mine on there. His name, I went out to his Twitter account. And there are some pastors on his Twitter account in a group, and one of those guys standing up there. In fact, now that I look and see, there are two of those guys. Oh my gosh, I am going to have to text them. One of them is, I just mentioned them yesterday on the show. I gotta believe that they don't believe what Bill Owens is saying. I know both of these state representatives from Tennessee. One of them is G.A. Hardaway. You heard me talk about G.A. Hardaway on this show. The other one is Harold Love. You've heard me talk about Harold Love on this show. Both are state representatives, one from Memphis, the other one from Nashville. Those guys are my friends. What the hell are they doing on this picture? Wow. Okay. Now that I am crestfallen. William Owens says, Colin Kaepernick's views on America and the flag are fringe opinions, not shared by any of us, especially African Americans who marched against segregation with Martin Luther King Jr. Let me read that again. And see if you catch the contradictions in what Reverend Bill Owens just said. He is the pastor of the Coalition of African American Pastors who just attacked Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick's views on America and the flag are fringe opinions, not shared by any of us, especially the African Americans who marched against segregation with Dr. Martin Luther King. Is that contradictory to y'all, or am I just tripping? Because here's what I'm saying here. If you marched with Dr. King the way you say you did, I don't know if you did or didn't, but if you marched with Dr. King, every white person and his mama thought that Dr. King was on the fringe. What Dr. King and his followers were doing, they shouldn't have been doing it. It was against American values. Marching against segregation was against American values in the 1950s and 60s. Yet you did it. People called Dr. King fringe, called him crazy. Now, Colin Kaepernick takes a stand and you dare to fix your mouth to say Colin Kaepernick is wrong. Why are y'all going to these people's churches? Why are y'all letting these people tell you who you should worship and how you worship when they don't know their butts from the hole in the ground? You cannot tell me you march with Dr. King and then you are against Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick had every right to voice his opinions about that Betsy Ross sneaker. Betsy Ross, by the way, did y'all know Betsy Ross was a racist? Hello? I'm sorry, it hurts your feelings, but the majority of the people that were in this country that were white were racist. Oh, we shouldn't call names. Oh, that's just so hard. No, sometimes you got to call it like you see it. Just like Francis Scott Key was a racist. He owned slaves. You know him, right? Who is Francis Scott Key? Well, if you don't know who Francis Scott Key is, therein lies your initial problem. But I'll go ahead and tell you, he's the one that wrote the Star Spangled Banner. The one that y'all sing and cry about. And talk about how great it is, except to black people. Hello? So I scrolled down on Reverend Billy Owens' feed, and he has a book. Now I understand. I'm not going to even give you the title on my show, son. Okay? A civil rights veteran sets the record straight. Really? It boggles my mind when these old warriors. I remember going to see Julian Bond about 2 years ago over at Embassy Suites. And you know what he said, right? He said that he'd been to Africa. He'd been to all 56 countries in Africa, and he's glad that they brought us over here on slave ships. This was a black man who is that civil rights icon who marched with Martin Luther King. not understanding that part of the reason Africa is the way in the condition that it is because white people have raped and pillaged it for centuries. Africa is the only nation in the world that composes all of the nature's elements that you need to survive. But Julian Bond said that. So it's fascinating to me that all of these old guys, again, don't want to let the sunshine go. They got to get one last thing. Yeah, you know, Cliff, you're right. People don't know that Amazing Grace, you all's favorite church hymn. Oh, I got to sing Amazing Grace. I got to sing it. It makes me feel good. Did you know it was written by a slave ship captain? Hello? See, once you know better, you do better. The fact of the matter is, many of y'all don't even want to know better. That's why we're not doing better, because nobody who wants to get out in front and say the things that need to be said. So here's a civil rights veteran who's, if he marched with Dr. King, he's got to be in his 70s, close to 80s. He's trying to make some money, so he writes a book, and he claims that the left hijacked the civil rights. Really? Really? That's the problem, folks. These folks are crazy, man. So I say that to say this, because I'm going to stand with Colin Kaepernick. I'm going to stand against anyone who tells me that I'm less than a man. I'm going to stand against anyone who doesn't want me to be equal to them. I will fight you as long as there's breath in my body. That's a promise. But I want to make sure you all understand that I want to give you a reason as to how you can solve this problem. And I've said it once, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it. I have the answer to this race problem in America if black people are willing to do it. See, I remember, because I'm a student of history, and I remember that when the coalitions were coming together, all of those civil rights groups that were coming together to decide how that they want to attack civil rights, I know that there were quite a few black ministers who didn't want to get involved. I know there were quite a few black people who didn't want to get involved. I know that there were quite a few black people who tried to sow seeds of discontent to make sure it failed. I know that there were quite a few black people that were paid off by the FBI, according to David J. Garrow in the book that says The FBI versus Martin Luther King. I know for a fact that's coming from government records that black people were paid off to sow dissension in the ranks of the civil rights strugglers. I know that. So I know some of you all are not going to buy into this. I know some of you all are afraid, but I'm going to give you some information. And I've said it over and over again, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to talk about it for the rest of the show, because you're right, LaTanya, he's chasing a check. You want to solve the civil rights problem? You want to end it once and for all? Let me read a story to you that I actually talked about 2 years ago on the Weekly Sports Magazine. Why the NCAA may eventually be forced to pay some student athletes in one chart. The chart below shows us how much college football players may be worth at top programs if they were able to play in a free market system and receive compensation in a manner like NFL players. We calculate, and by the way, this is from the Business Insider. They said we calculated the so-called fair market value of college football players at least 20 profitable programs using data provided by the Department of Education and based on the work of Ellen Starowski, a professor at Drexel. We use the NFL's most recent collective bargaining agreement, in which the players receive a minimum of 47% of all revenue. Each school's football revenue was split between the school and the athletes, with the players' share divided evenly among 85 scholarship players. This method allows us to estimate that the average college football player in Texas, listen to this, is worth $666,029 each year, based on the program's average annual revenue over the past 3 years of $120.5 million. The average player at Alabama, the top program in the country, is second. The average player at Alabama is worth $545,357 a year. Overall, the average FBS player in all of those schools that they looked at is worth $163,087 a year, with the average football team taking in $29.5 million in revenue. Now, I use this chart for my argument why players should be paid. I'm going to use this chart again to show you how you can break the back of racism. And I'm going to give you an example of something that happened in history and something that needs to be happening today. You heard me talk about Texas. They were at the top of the list. Then there was Alabama. Michigan, $510,000 per athlete. Tennessee, $501,000. Notre Dame, $488,000. LSU, $479,000. Georgia, $463,000. Oklahoma, $450,000. Ohio State, $434,000. Auburn, $421,000. I'm saying thousands now. Florida, $419,000. Penn State, $395,000. Washington, $375,000. Texas A&M, $356,000. And guess who's in the top 15, folks? Is Arkansas. Per football player, an average, they're worth $354,266. That's the Arkansas Razorback football player. A single athlete. Wow. Y'all follow me yet? Before I go on, let me give you a little more background. 3 years ago, I believe it was, the University of Missouri football team decided that they were going to strike. They had grown weary of the racism that was going on that campus. I've had friends who went to Missouri. I know Missouri is known for the media. They have a great media center. A lot of people graduate from the University of Missouri School of Journalism. I've met quite a few of them. But when you have a conversation, white and black, they will tell you that it is one of the most racist campuses in America. And 3 years ago, the University of Missouri, first it was their black student union, who decided that they had had enough of the racism and bigotry that was taking place on the campus, not just by students, but by administrators. Jonathan Butler was the head of the black student union. He went on a hunger strike. They didn't care if he died. It wasn't until the black football players decided that, hey, look, if you feel that way about black students, then you feel that way about us black people, black football players. We're not going to play. Y'all remember what happened. I don't need to go into the details, but that university scrambled to get those guys back on the field. In fact, they knuckled under to their demands, which was rightfully so. Because the University of Missouri knew that they were going to lose anywhere from $10 million to $50 million if those kids did not play. You don't have to take my values for it. Go and do the math for yourself. Think about all the money just think about it. If you've been to a college football game, just think about all the money that is earned. Think about it. Think about the ticket sales. Think about the concessions, the popcorn, the Coca-Colas. Now they're getting ready to start selling beer at a lot of these places. Think about all that money that was earned. Think about all that money that was earned to people that who park cars. What about restaurants? What about hotels? What about motels? What about souvenir shops? Think about all that money that was earned every Saturday at a college football game. Now notice I hadn't even touched college basketball. I'm just doing college football. Because see, I know that if black people develop the will, we can change this whole country overnight. Because see, all you got to do is tell your black child that you're not going to go and play for Arkansas, Texas A&M, Washington, Penn State, Florida, Auburn, Ohio State, any of them, until they change their racist laws in their states. You tell me that if I can't vote in your state, then my child can't play in your state. If I can't vote in your, if black men and women are being accosted by police and murdered in your state and nobody's going to jail, then my son, oh hell, I'm not sending my son to your state. Y'all killing black folks. Why would I send my son to play for Ohio State or Arkansas or Notre Dame or LSU or Georgia or Oklahoma? Y'all killing black folks. Why would I send my son to your college campus? Why would I send my son to your college campus when your state representative, when your governor, when your senator, when your U.S. congressman supports policies from a racist president? Why would I send my son to your state? Yeah, I know. He's played football all his life. He's always wanted to be a Razorback or a Longhorn or Crimson Tide. But what you want to be sometimes gets in the way of what you need to do. Hello? So if you want to solve this problem, then all you got to do is take your kids out of their systems. College basketball earns $1 billion a year annually for the NCAA. That's just college basketball. What would happen if you took your children out of their system? This is real stuff here, folks. I'm giving you the key to fixing this problem. I know you think I'm crazy. I know you're saying David Coleman don't know what he's talking about, but I'm telling you, I told you that I was going to give you prima facie evidence of why I know it will work. I know it will work because what was the most powerful weapon in the 60s? It wasn't the preaching. It wasn't the teaching. It wasn't the praying. It wasn't the marching. What was it? It was the economic boycott. It was the bus boycott. Hello? It wasn't until the bus boycott, and by the way, you realize that the bus boycott didn't last a week. It didn't last 9 days. It lasted over a year, where black people refused to ride the buses in Birmingham, Alabama. They refused. White folks lost a whole lot of money. It was them who went to the powers that be and said, hey, if this thing spreads, we all gonna lose a lot of money. We need to fix this. And by the way, a lot of those pioneers, those civil rights marchers and workers, they were young people. They were 17 and 18 years old, like Clayton and Miss Ivy here. They were young people. What are you teaching your young people? So don't tell me an effective, concerted boycott wouldn't work. Don't tell me that if you pulled your kids out of college today, if you pulled your kids off that football field today, if you pulled your kids off that basketball court today, and you went to that coach and said, look, I want my son to play, but there's a bigger thing he needs to stand for. And then the coach is going to say, well, you know, we're trying to get him an education. And then you know what mom and dad ought to say? I'm trying to educate him too. And I'm educating him on the facts of being a black person in America. And that's more important than that piece of paper that you're going to try to give him that's not going to be worth a dime once he graduates. You want to fix this problem? Your problem, in 45 days, football season will start. College football season will start. Do you have the guts to stand up against your oppressors? That's the question. Do you have the guts to stand? Because see, right now, the reason that they're doing all of this, the reason the Repugnant Party won't stand up against Donald Trump is because they know you black folks ain't gonna do nothing but march, cry, pray, and die. That's all y'all gonna do. Y'all not gonna get out there and do anything active to fight for your own freedom. And anybody that stands up against the status quo, you're going to do just like the Coalition of African American Pastors. And you're going to attack them. Because they're affecting your little cushy payouts. So you want to fix this problem. I'm asking because I got the answer. Look, I'm not an economist, but I know that if I take $500,000 from Alabama, and if I take $666,000 from Texas, that's a lot of money. And that's what each athlete is worth on that football field. Now, you might say, well, you know, Dave, they've got white athletes. Really? I'm going to tell you like the caller told me in Nashville when he called and we were discussing this. And he said, look, you know what? Yeah, if they take all the black athletes away, it's just going to be a bunch of slow white boys out there. And I'm not going to watch. By the way, this was a white guy who said this. And many other guys called up after the fact and chimed in and said basically the same thing. You all forget I was on a white radio station in Nashville, not a black one. They know what black athletes are all about. That's why Bear Bryant, prior to him getting black, he didn't really want to get any black athletes, but he was getting his tail kicked by black athletes who were going to other schools. He finally had to capitulate. They know the power of the black athlete, not just by what he can do on the field, not by how many tackles he can make, not how many touchdowns he can score, not how many slam dunks he can do. They know that each athlete is worth, at Texas, $666,000. Right here in Arkansas, Arkansas is 15th on this list. Right here in Arkansas, every black athlete that plays football for them, according to these calculations, is worth about $354,000. Now, you tell me you don't have no power? Power is in what you have in your wallet. Power is what you have, what you can spend. Every black athlete on the University of Arkansas is worth $354,000. Yet we have two senators and 4 congressmen who refuses to rebuke Donald Trump and his racism. Why would you send your child there? I'm just being real with you. We don't have to fire a shot. Those people out there talking about armed revolution, you're a damn fool. You can't have a revolution without being able to feed your people. You cannot have a revolution without being able to clothe your people. You cannot have a revolution without being able to give your people hope. And right now, there is no one in America that's black who is willing to step out and dare to do that. And that's give them hope. So what can you do? We can have an economic revolution. Those kids that we're sending to Tennessee, Alabama, Michigan, we can send them back to black colleges. There's no surprise that a man from a black college is the best receiver ever to grace the fields of the NFL. His name was Jerry Rice. He went to Mississippi Valley State. My favorite player who electrified the NFL for 9 years, he being Steve McNair, went to Alcorn State. I could go on and on and on. But the point I'm trying to make to you is, as you sit around and say, we have no weapons, your weapons are your children. And I know how badly you want your child to go to the university. I know how badly you didn't get to go. He's the first. But the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Yes, I did quote, that's a quote from Star Trek. But that quote, the reason it has stood the test of time is because it is so profound. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. In this country, it's flipped. It's the needs of the few, and to hell with the needs of the many. We bought into that lie. And it's destroying our communities. It's destroying our children. And I could understand if we didn't have any weapons to fight against this treachery. But we do. They are our children. You are allowing a white system to use your children for their benefit, yet you as a black parent will not use your children to uplift black people. Brothers and sisters, we are sick. We are sick. Do you want to solve this problem? I just gave you the answer. Now see, I know I'm a nobody. I'm just a little talk show host with a broken neck, struggling to make ends meet. I just gave you the answer. I just gave you the ticket. Look, and here's the irony behind that, is that you don't even have to really do the boycott. What would happen if you threatened? Where are the black leaders in this city who have the gall? Where are the black leaders in this nation? At the NAACP meeting, if I got to address that body, I would say just what I said. I would give them, I'm telling you, I have the answer. I love Dr. Claude Anderson. And I tell you all the time that Dr. Anderson has answers to solving our problems. But see, I too have an answer. I just gave it to you. You want to fix the problem? Let me say it again. Do you want to fix the problem? Then you got to be willing to sacrifice. Just like those kids did in the 60s. Do you think those kids wanted to be batoned upside the head? Ask John Lewis. Do you think those kids wanted dogs to be sicked on them? Do you think that I keep seeing the picture from Eyes on the Prize of the young man who had the water hose turned on him, and it was so powerful that it was pushing him down the street? Do you think those kids wanted to do that? No, they didn't want to do it. They knew that they had to do it. And here we are. We are at a moral moment in the history of America where we have a full party of Republicans who refuse to denounce racism because they are afraid that they might offend their racist constituents. At what point do you decide that power is not as important as people? The Republican Party hasn't done that yet. So they need to be punched in the face. That's how you do this. You see, with complicated issues, you have to have complicated solutions. Racism has lived in America for far too long. Racism has thrived in America for far too long, because now, if it wasn't thriving, then we wouldn't be here at this moment in time. We wouldn't have a president who's openly racist. We wouldn't have a Republican Party who's afraid to condemn his openly racist activities as well as his immorality. So racism is thriving in America. What are you willing to do about it? I just gave you the key. I just gave you the answer. Little old me, a talk show host, don't know his butt from a hole in the ground. I just gave you the answer. The key is your children. You know what? There's a guy I saw on Facebook, I think he's 8 years old. They say he's making millions of dollars. You know what he does? He tests new toys, and toy companies pay him. Now, why am I bringing it up? Got a few minutes to go in the show. Go ahead and hit that sound. Why am I bringing that up? Because companies understand that children, you need to hit the bed. Companies understand that children are the key to parents' pocketbooks. Your children are the key to your pocketbooks. You buy stuff in your house mainly for your kids. We all do. Now, isn't it time for you to show them how to stand up? It is. Hey, we got to get out of here. Thanks for joining the show. There were a whole lot of people on Facebook. I really appreciate it. Keep spreading the word. Keep looking. Keep listening to the show. We got to start espousing this everywhere we go. We have the answer. Our answer is our children. Evil can only thrive when good people do nothing. Black people, stop doing nothing and stand up. We got to get out of here. Black Focus Radio. See you tomorrow. Our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com. Play the close. You can play it now. And once he stops talking, hit the automation button. Okay, you can hit it now. And there you have it. Let's see, tomorrow's Wednesday. Okay. I don't know why I was thinking tomorrow was Friday. All right, folks, we're done. Miss Ivy, do you have a drawing tablet? You do? You have colored pencils? Turn that monitor down, please. Turn it all the way down. And you can turn down the headsets too. Now, you were saying what, Ivy?
I said I had some, but I lost them.
Okay. Because I have a friend who's an artist. Let me see some of your drawings, by the way. Hey, Cliff, we got to go, man. Don't have time for an encore today. What's your best one? You have one?
I mean,
Well, just show me one.
Like, probably not in here, but that's videos that I'm
Oh, okay. So what about your designs? Oh, okay. The reason I was asking, I've got a friend who's an artist, and quite often he gets rid of a lot of his stuff. And we still got to work on try to get a sewing machine for you. When we interview you on Thursday, don't forget you all have been interviewed for the show on Thursday. So those are some of the things that we'll talk about. And I'll put out a promo tomorrow letting everybody know that we are going to interview you guys so they can get a better idea of who you all are and stuff like that, because they hear us talk about you all the time. So, all right. Well, I appreciate it. I will see you all tomorrow. And y'all need to look on Facebook every now and then. No, you're not. I want to get on Facebook. And you know, you did send me that picture, but I didn't realize that was you. You got them little flowers or something around your head. I saw that and I said, who is this? And I was looking.
Oh, that's an old picture.
Well, you need to change it.
Yeah.
You know.
That was like ninth grade.
Had them little flowers around your head. I said, I don't even know who this is. And then when I looked, I said, oh, I've got, this is who this is.